Good spooky morning to everybody. It's spooky time, it's spooky time. I'm so happy it's October. I can't even tell you how happy I am. And the weather is cooperating because it is grim here. Yay. A lot of people don't like the rain, but I like the rain and the cold, and I'm like super happy with it right now. So yeah. So hi, come on in. I'm Jen. This is Cider House Crafts of Vlogoween episode 2, and this is where we talk about crafts that's been going on during the week, and we talk about scary films and life stuff and sometimes baking. And yeah, so yeah. I'm really excited to talk about what I watched this week because there were some kids things in it, and yeah, plus the usual horror flicks that you'd never let your kids watch, and I probably shouldn't be watching, but there you go. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to talk about the crafting that happened, and we're going to talk about the baking that happened. And I'm looking down here because I have a little notebook today because there was a lot to talk about. So life stuff, I have been very busy. I do a spring cleaning and an autumn cleaning. I have been washing baseboards. I have been washing windows. I have been doing, what else have I been doing? I've been prepping some of my my doorways for painting. Anyway, so that's all that we've got going on in our life. There has been no sewing, so I've just been stitching, cross-stitching, and knitting. And I guess that leads me into crafts. So let's talk about crafts. So I said maybe I'll have that done by Friday. I said that on Monday. Now, I'm going to show it to you. But don't get too excited because I haven't put the thumb in yet. But yeah, ta-da! There she be. Oh my god, look at that. That is the coolest thing since sliced bread, right? That my little Halloween cocoa mug is where we were at on Monday. And I did all of this in the last couple of days. There's the back. I will show it to you on. This is the scary mitten pattern. Or scary pumpkin pattern, sorry. And I can't enunciate that girl's name, so I'm not going to because I don't know if it's her real name or whatever. But yeah, so this is what it looks like on. It's a little twisted, sorry. This is what it looks like on the side. I love that. And then there's the palm. I used a stretchy bind off for the top instead of a regular straight bind off. I wish I hadn't, but I am not pulling a bind off out because there's twisted rib under there. Here's my floats. This is what it looks like on the inside, so you can actually see the pumpkin in the negative form, and that's what the floats look like on the inside and the back. So there you go. So I'm super pleased with those. I'll get the thumb in over the weekend, and maybe I'll cast on for the second one. So yep, got that done, and then I also said, hey, maybe I'll have the top of the cross stitch done by Friday, and ta-da! Yes, this is the Halloween Ouija Sal by Tiny Modernist, and I am way behind, but I did get the top done as promised, so there we go. Yes and no. I am super pleased with this. I can say I am, because you don't think about the dimensions when you're making something, but I am like a little put off by the size of this because it's like, holy crap, huge, but I do love it. Hi. So the first film I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about the kiddie films first, and they're not really films. They're both programs that were on PBS when my children were small, and I don't know how I ended up stumbling across them. I do. I was looking on YouTube to see if there was the Disney Sleepy Hollow version that Bing Crosby did. So I stumbled across these two things and ended up watching them. And to be honest with you, it was a really good time. Brought back a lot of nice warm memories of, you know, having small kids around the house. And yeah, so it was, you know, it was nostalgic, as it were. So the first one was Arthur. And I don't know if anybody from England knows who Arthur is, but he's this character. And a whole series of books were written about him and his little sister. And this was Arthur's, what is it? I'm looking at my notes here. It was the Haunted Treehouse episode. And it lasted for an hour. It was actually sort of a film, as it were. And it's about Arthur who goes, it's Halloween time, obviously, and he goes into his attic to get some decorations because he's going to have a sleepover on Halloween night and in his treehouse. And he comes across this spooky doll, which isn't really spooky, but it's got one eye out, and the back of its head says Zelda on it. And because he had told his sister that she was not going to be sleeping out with him and his friends on Halloween night, and his mom agreed as well, his sister sort of planted this doll. And she kind of made it disappear, and she did sort of spooky things with it. But it's not just about that. It's Arthur's friends who are coming to his sleepover all end up having these experiences on Halloween night. Kind of spooky, weird, eerie experiences. So it's like 6 stories within a story that culminates into what happens with this doll, Zelda, in the end. And it's really fun. And I enjoyed it. And I'm going to give that actually 5 bats. I know it's childish, but it brought back a lot of great memories of my kids and making Halloween costumes for them. And yeah, so that's good. The next one I watched was a half-hour program, and it's also on PBS. And Dolly Parton sings the theme song for this particular program, and it's the Berenstein Bears. Now, it was the Berenstein Bears Trick or Treat, and it was a really funny story. It's your typical little kids think this is a haunted house and that the old lady that lives in it is a witch and scary and things. Ends up, no, she's not. So yeah, so if you've got little ones at home and you're watching this, those are both on YouTube, and look them up. So let's get into the not so kiddie films. So the first film that I watched this week, well, since Monday night, Monday afternoon, I can't remember which, isn't really Halloween. In fact, I believe I have watched one specifically Halloween film during this week. But this one is an essential watch for any teenage girl or anyone who is into witchcraft. And it's called The Craft. And Neve Campbell's in it. And I hadn't watched The Craft in a really long time. And it is quite scary. It is quite dark. And presents itself in such a way that you get a feeling that being a hedge witch, or, you know, taking on witchcraft is a good thing. But one of the characters, she sort of, her mind sort of erodes during all of this, and she ends up doing something extremely naughty. And in all actuality, they all do something not nice. They've all been either looked down upon, or they're poor, or someone picks on them because of their color, the color of their skin, or in this case, someone is not so pretty. As she's been, Neve Campbell's character has been burnt tragically in a fire, and her body's scarred, and so they cast these spells and wish for these things to be different. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it because I'll be giving it all away. But the one character, she devolves into a not nice witch, and in the end she gets hers 3 times back. So yeah, I would recommend this. I give this particular film 4 stars. It was of its time, but you know, some of it still holds true today. You know, don't wish ill on other people. Not a good idea. Right, so the next one I watched was The Haunted, and this is a British film. It's about a girl who takes a job as a carer. She thinks she's taking a job as a carer, as it were. I can't say a whole lot about this because it's very M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong kind of a thing. And so she takes a job as carer and starts caring for this man named Arthur. And she's riding in a car up into the place, and the guy that's driving her, who's the man of the house, not owning the house, but he's like a chauffeur, butler kind of person. And then there's this cook, and they're all talking to her and showing her around, and you know what's going on, and they're telling her where not to go and what is what. And this movie progresses in a very weird way. I mean, she looks sort of ill when you see her. And so spooky things start happening in this house. And doors opening and closing. Typical haunted house stuff. The setting is incredibly creepy, I must say. The lighting is bright, though, so I'm not sure how they pull it off. Dark doorways. Sounds that can't be identified. So, in the end, this gets to a point. She goes around the house, there's discovery, she lights sage. She's trying to do all of these things because this Arthur actually sees these ghosts, as it were. So, yeah. So, she lights sage and she tries to go around the house, and then all of a sudden, boom, it is in her face, and that's it. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Last 10 minutes of this movie scared the living crap out of me. 5 bets for The Haunted. The next film I'm going to talk about is a classic. It is The Fly from 1958 with Vincent Price and Patricia Owen and Herbert Marshall, who is famous on the radio in the 1930s and 40s. Yeah, also Vincent Price was as well, to be honest with you. I don't know about Patricia Owen, but we all know what The Fly is about, so I'm not going to spoil anything. I really like the original version compared to the Jeff Goldblum version, basically because it's, I don't know, the story is better. I don't care if somebody's puking on somebody's leg and it disintegrates, or that somebody might have gotten knocked up by some dude with fly genes. That's not scary to me. Vincent Price, he's friggin' scary. He's not even a scary character in this, but he lends something to everything he's in, you know? So anyway, this scientist is down in his basement. He's working, and there's kind of this subplot, sort of side misty story about how he doesn't spend much time with his wife and his son, but he's a very loving man, and he's discovered transportation in the Star Trek, and so he shows his wife. He tries to transport the family cat, unbeknownst to her, but the cat doesn't come back together. And so it's floating, its particles are floating in space, and every once in a while you can hear this cat purr and meow and things, and he's like, oh no. And it ends up, is everybody's seen this film. If you haven't, this is a spoiler, so go ahead about 15 seconds. It ends up, he begs her to take him to this plant that's next to their property, and she puts him on this flat bed and then hits this hydraulic button, and it's basically a press, and it pops his head. They don't show it, but you get the idea, and it's like super gross. And even Ian and I looked away. That was like, oh my god, I can't see that. That's disgusting. So yeah, and then what they don't know in the interim is that he's been begging them to find this fly because he thinks if they get back into the thing together, they can reverse what's happened. They don't find the fly. They don't find the fly. And the wife tells the police officer, you know, oh my God, you know, I did kill my husband, but this is why, Herbert Marshall. And he's like, no. And then they come with a padded wagon, basically, to take her away because they think she's out of her mind. Vincent Price believes her, though. And the little boy, their son, who had been sent off to find this fly with a white head, runs in at the very last minute and says to Vincent Price, I found it, I found it, I found it. And he's like, where is it? And he says, it's stuck in a web. It's stuck in a web by the bench in the garden. And Vincent Price and Herbert begs Herbert Marshall, please come out. I want you to see it. Please come and see it. Please come and see it. Please come and see it. So he goes out. This fly has the scientist head. And you can hear him going, help me, help me. And the spider's going to get it. And Herbert Marshall takes this big rock and goes smash. And you're like, oh my God. It is so gross. It is so gross. If I could give this 10 bats, I would. I freaking love this film. It is so good. So if you get a chance to see it, I don't know if it's on the tubes of you for free. But yeah, we caught it on an old movie channel. So yeah, it is pretty good. It's a pretty good film. Yeah. I mean, 2 thumbs up. Great holiday viewing. All right. I've spoken enough about that. Oh my God. Right. So the next movie that I watched was called Trick. Trick was the only Halloween-oriented film that I watched this week, and this film has a great cast, but it's got Omar Epps in it, and I love Omar Epps. He's amazing. You'll remember him from House. He was the doctor who ended up very successful, and then he killed himself, which made me like super sad. Anyways, Trick is about a group of people who get together and they actually commit murders. They're very naughty people, and one is the leader. He's a kid. He's in a wheelchair, and they wear this like kind of mangled pumpkin mask thing, as one does in a trick-or-treat film. And yeah, I don't know how to describe this film to you guys. It is creepy. These people are hunted down. I mean, they just walk into a fraternity in the beginning, and everybody in the room is basically slaughtered by the end, except for the kid who's actually done it and one girl. And they continue to off these people, police officers, movie theater owners. I mean, I don't know how to describe this film to you. Just gonna have to go read it or watch the trailer for it. It is super creepy. I'm only giving it 4 bats, and that's because I think some of the story wasn't really believable. There's a scene, or not even just a scene, but a whole section of this film where they're at a Halloween haunted maze, and the killers are inside this maze, and there's little kids running around. And they have kids everywhere. They have adults everywhere, and they're only after a few people, so they're not doing it. They end up killing some of the people who are actually working in the maze. One in particular was pretty gruesome. And yeah. And Omar Epps is in pursuit of these people. He's a cop. They end up stabbing him so many times, leaving him for dead in a parking garage, and I can't tell you anything beyond that because that's sort of getting towards the end, but it is pretty bad. Yeah, pretty bad. So anyway, yeah, so that's that. There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, even though we are at 17 minutes. Sorry, I keep looking. All blossoms, sleeping bless her. One more thing I did want to talk to you about. No, why am I whispering? It's a dog. Is I watch regularly, over and over and over and over and over. And I don't think they're going to have a new season because of COVID this year. I haven't asked, but there's 2 guys, Ryan and Shane, Ryan Bagara, and they work for Buzzfeed Unsolved. They have Paranormal and they have Unsolved Crimes. And I'm going to show you guys, these guys here. there's an episode where there's this ghost episode, and they go to the Island of the Dolls in Mexico. They go to the Winchester house, and they go to the Sally house. Now, the Sally house, I believe, is the last bit. You need to watch this. It is so scary. Now, I'm going to warn you, Shane's got a bit of a gob, and he doesn't believe in any paranormal shit at all. He doesn't believe at all. But Ryan, who is adorable, sweet, kind, just a great guy, he does believe. He believes so much that he goes and sees a priest and gets some holy water. But that, it's a really, I'm not into watching like ghost hunters or any of that stuff like that. Once in a while I do. But these two guys are great. They go to some great locations. It's Buzzfeed Supernatural. You can catch it on YouTube. And yeah, give it a go. They have 6 seasons up. I think each season is 6 episodes. So yeah, so that's a lot of watching. Also, another thing I'd recommend off YouTube is Nuke's Top 5. Nuke's Top 5 is okay. It's like usually about 15-16 minutes long, and he shows paranormal videos that are either sent to him or he finds himself. And they're usually okay. I mean, he calls bullshit when he thinks it's bullshit. But yeah. There is another channel like that, Chills. I don't watch Chills. And there's another one called Slap Tam. But I think Callan is trying to turn out too many videos. Like, he turns out a video every 3rd day or whatever. And so he's just getting shit now. Bottom of the barrel stuff that is obviously just not real. So, yeah. I thought my postman was knocking. So yeah, so there you go. But anyway, this is going to be too long. I'm really sorry. Anyway, yeah. So that's it for me. I hope you're all okay, and I will see you on Spooky Monday, and I will be talking about Halloween H2O, and I will be talking about Halloween H2O, won't I? I will be talking about Halloween H2O and The Curse of Michael Myers. Yay! Big screen films. Yeah. Anyway, you take care of yourself. Stay spooky over the weekend. Keep safe.